Story 23, The Third Night at the Harvest Gate Inn. The drive into Amish Country had been peaceful. Golden fields rolling beneath a full moon, barns glowing faintly white in the distance, and the comforting rhythm of buggy wheels echoing down long country roads. The late autumn wind carried the smell of wood smoke and fallen leaves. Corn husks shivered loose from their stalks and tumbled across the empty country roads like scraps of parchment. Somewhere just beyond the hills, the whistle of a distant train echoed, its low moan rising through steam before fading again into the hush of farmlands. When Claire arrived at the bed and breakfast, she was struck by how charming it seemed. A rambling white farmhouse with green shutters, its paint softened by decades of rain and sun. The windows flickered with warm lamplight, and the faint scent of cinnamon was in the air. A small wooden sign hung from iron brackets out front, creaking as the wind swept through the valley. It read, "The Harvest Gate Inn." Across the road, fields stretched in orderly lines, pale gold and brittle, the remnants of harvest still clinging to the soil. Horses stood quietly in fenced pastures, and the faint smell of hay drifted in through the inn's windows. To sum it up, it was a perfect getaway from the city. The owner, Miss Fisher, a kindly woman with a soft voice and a thick Amish quilt draped over her shoulders, handed over the brass key and greeted Claire with a serene smile. "Quiet here after dark," she said. "You'll sleep well." The fire crackled in the sitting room. A few other travelers had gone to bed early, leaving Claire alone with a cup of cider, her book, and the ticking of a tall clock in the corner. Outside, the wind picked up, brushing the windows with dry leaves. That first night, sleep did not come easily for Claire. Sometime after midnight, she awoke to the distinct sound of clip-clop, clip-clop, passing along the lane outside. She peeked through the lace curtains, but the road was empty. The moonlight glistened on the silos in the distance, but no horse or buggy could be seen. The sound went on a little while longer, slow, deliberate, before fading into silence. She told herself it was nothing. Old wood creaks wind carries sound strangely out here. The second night, as twilight deepened over the fields, Claire sat by the window and heard the train whistle again in the distance, its steam curling white against the darkening sky. The farmhouse felt different that evening. The hallways seemed longer, the floors groaned under her steps as though also remembering footsteps long gone. She was half hoping, half fearing to hear the mysterious sound once more. After midnight, she did hear it again, the rhythmic clip-clop somewhere beyond the fields, but this time it stopped suddenly, and she heard whispers, soft, quick words, as if someone were speaking just beyond the door of the kitchen right below her room. She strained to listen, but the words were in a language she didn't know. She crept halfway down the narrow staircase, peering into the shadows. The kitchen was dark, except for the faint orange glow of the stove's embers. The whispers ceased. Then, very slowly, one of the wooden chairs scraped back from the table, as though someone had just stood up. She hurried back upstairs, heart pounding. The hallway creaked and moaned beneath her feet. By morning, Miss Fisher was cheerful, serving apple pancakes as though nothing were amiss. When Claire tried to mention the noises, the woman only smiled. "Sometimes the past walks a little close. That's all, dear." That evening, clouds drifted over the moon. The air was colder, sharper. The corn husks whispered along the road again, collecting at the fence line. Claire sat by the window, trying to read, but every sound made her flinch. The ticking of the old clock, the distant hoot of an owl, the steady creak of the farmhouse breathing in the dark. Then came the clip-clop once more, closer this time, the unmistakable rattle of harnesses, the creak of a buggy wheels. She looked again, nothing, just the empty road, shimmering under the pale moonlight. She went back to her bed quickly and pulled the blankets tightly up to her chin. A few moments later, she heard the scrape of a chair on the kitchen floor, but didn't dare go investigate again. By dawn, she had packed her bags. When she stepped outside, the road was still and quiet, lined with frost. Miss Fisher waved from the porch, her expression unreadable. As Claire drove away, the wind picked up, carrying a swirl of husks across the road. In her rearview mirror, the bed and breakfast looked smaller and smaller, until it was just another shadow among silos and barns, waiting for the next traveler, who hopefully wouldn't mind the haunting sound of hooves at midnight, and an unexpected visitor waiting in the kitchen below.